Good morning, Pisces. Happy Easter. My name is Sherilyn. I'm here to do your weekly reading. This one will be for April 21st through the 24th. Should be Monday through Thursday, I hope. I will be back on Wednesday with bonus readings to get you through the weekend. That's the whole deal. We're just going to pull cards and see what comes out, okay? All right, let's see. This one's for my Pisces. I can't get it shuffled. There you go. Yeah. Pisces, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Alrighty. Here we go. What are we starting with? Well, we start with the sun. That's a pretty good place to start. There you go. Followed by the 10 of Swords. That's almost amusing, kind of. Okay, here we go. Then I got the 7 of Cups. This is your recent past or your backstory. Okay, currently I have you with the 9 of Pentacles, followed by the 3 of Pentacles, and then, never mind. And then I have the 4 of Cups. Okay, and in the near future, I'm looking at Queen of Pentacles, the Magician, and the 8 of Swords. All right, bottom of the deck for this reading is actually the Empress. So this means that's the undercurrent to the entire reading. And I believe this is how you're presenting. So you're presenting as the Empress. Okay, the card at the center of your read, so from almost every direction it plays into the equation, is actually the 3 of Pentacles. This has to do with collaborations in general. We'll see how it plays in, okay? All right, let's start this whole shebang back here in the recent past to get your backstory, okay? So we have the Sun, the 10 of Swords, and the 7 of Cups. So in this particular situation, it feels as though the Sun is here because it's shown light onto a situation of betrayal, right? Meaning that you were in the dark about a betrayal. And then the Sun came along and showed it to you. The betrayal had something to do with options of some sort. Everybody jumps right immediately to romantic. That's possible, but it doesn't have to be that. But whatever this betrayal was, it has to do with options. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I was dying for that coffee. This is your backstory, so we can't change it even if we wanted to. For a lot of you, you were betrayed because somebody that you were in a higher level of commitment with went in a different direction, is how I feel about this. Yeah. At any rate, we couldn't change that if we wanted to. It's already happened, but however it played out is affecting the rest of your reading. So that's in the past. It's already done. Let's get out of that energy. So where are we currently? Currently, I have the 9 of Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles, and the 4 of Cups. Okay. So the 9 of Pentacles speaks of you finding your independence, which is probably something that happened because of whatever had happened here in the past, right? That stands to reason. However, it was a catalyst then to your growth in many ways. So you have found your independence, it looks like, right here in the current. With the 3 of Pentacles, this is all about collaborations. I believe that maybe you are a little leery or a little defensive when it comes to new collaborations, maybe even old collaborations, right? I don't think you saw this betrayal coming in the past, and so that has made you much more apprehensive, I guess you could say right now. With the 4 of Cups on the back end of the current situation, it just means that you're very dissatisfied. With relationships in general, it feels like, of all sorts, right? Of all kinds and sizes. It just doesn't feel like things have come together the way that maybe you had anticipated or hoped for in a couple different venues in your life, right? So it could be not just romantic, but at work or family. I don't know. There's just a lot of dissatisfaction right now. You have to watch that that doesn't turn into putting you into a place of lack, right? You still have to be grateful for the things you do have so that you can be blessed with more in some ways. Anyways, okay. So that's where I have you currently. So in the near future, where are we going? We have the Queen of Pentacles, the Magician, and the 8 of Swords. I'm dying for this coffee. Sorry. Goodness. Okay. The Queen of Pentacles is talking about you being in a very grounded sort of a state of being. Very grounded, very nurturing, very abundant. Very controlled, though. Very much so a big picture person. With the Magician down here in the middle, you're trying to manifest the life that you want. but I believe you're trying to manifest it in a way that gives you quite possibly an unrealistic sense of control. With the Eight of Swords, you're very much so up in your head. I don't think that you've taken the time to heal from whatever happened back here in the recent past. Rather than heal from it, you're trying to control the narrative of everything around you so that you never have to deal with it again, right? Which on paper sounds pretty good, but it's not really. To try to find things like true love or true happiness, you know, you're going to have to at some point put forward a sense of vulnerability and relinquish control, and that looks like something you're having a very hard time even thinking about right this minute. Okay, what do I have behind the Empress? Let's see. I have the Page of Swords and the Four of Wands. So you're presenting as the Empress. With the Page of Swords, I feel like whoever caused this betrayal for you, I feel like they're still keeping tabs on you. They're a higher level soulmate to you. They were intended to be in your life, as were you in theirs, you know. Whether this is somebody who just took a left turn and made decisions that maybe, I mean, we have free will, right? So maybe they made decisions that were less than wonderful, okay? But it's led to the point you're at right now, or whether this was somebody who was always intended to do that. It's possible this is somebody that was karmic, right? They were always intended to put you through this to some extent so that you could learn certain lessons. I don't know that part. I do know they're still keeping an eye on you. And I do know they were intended to be in your life. That part I got down. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Come back. Give me what do we got here. So I've got the Chariot, the Ten of Wands, the Two of Wands, and then Justice. So the Chariot's talking about forward motion and victory. I think you're trying to get traction to get forward motion out of a situation that currently feels very burdensome. The Two of Wands is speaking at you being at a crossroads, and Justice, you walking away from this is going to be justice, I think. I don't feel like I'm telling you anything you don't already have figured out. Like, I feel like maybe this is confirmation for you, but I feel like most of you have already made your mind up. You are walking away from a person or situation, I'm not sure which. They betrayed you. This almost feels like something that might have happened before. So maybe they've already done this to you once before or twice before or whatever, and you let them back in, or you made excuses for their bad behavior or whatever. You forgave them. But at this point, I think you have just set your mind to this is the line in the sand, and we're not going to pass it. I think they're having a hard time adapting to that. This became a heavy burden and one you shouldn't carry, you know. So I don't feel like you're really standing at a crossroads trying to make up your mind. I think your mind's already made up. It's just a matter of going forward now with the Chariot. Let me see. What else we got here? And then I'm going to have to do the days of the week. Three of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles. I mean, you're trying very hard to rebuild. That's what you have to do. You're going to build a new foundation, one that's stronger than the one you had before, right? With the Knight of Pentacles, there is a little bit of trepidation when it comes to going forward right this minute. You know what you're going to do. You've made your mind up. You know, it's just a matter of putting it all into practice, and it's daunting. What do you want? You know, it's going in a new direction. So that's where the Knight of Pentacles comes in. I don't know that you're necessarily dragging your feet, but you're not running and jumping to get there either. I have 2 3s or 3. I have 2 3s. Here I have the Three of Swords. You know, it was heartbreaking. It was. Whatever it was, whether it was a person or a situation or a group of people, I don't know what it was in your case, but whatever it was something that you felt you allowed yourself to be vulnerable for. You allowed yourself to dream and think that this was going to be something you could invest in, and in the end, they didn't come through, you know. In the end, you were betrayed. All right, let's see what we got for the days of the week. Okay, for Monday, I've got the Ten of Pentacles and the Lovers. This situation is laden with heavy emotion. You know what I'm saying? At one time, you thought it was your Ten of Pentacles. Now I think you're not sure what to think of it. Tuesday, I have the Six of Cups and the Ten of Cups. There's something very nostalgic coming back towards you on Tuesday, and it brings you a sense of emotional fulfillment. It's not this person or place or thing, whatever it was that you're leaving behind. It's something from your past, though. Maybe family or friends. Wednesday, I've got the Queen of Cups and Temperance. You need to be patient, especially with yourself, okay?